Hey everybody, this is me, Vishwas Narayan. I'll be the speaker, and thanks for Nilesh for hosting me. And go ahead, Nilesh.
Hello everyone, I am Nilesh from Mumbai. I am your host for today. So just put in the comments like where are you from, and we'll try to we'll try to reply you in the comments. And if you have any doubts throughout the session, please feel free to comment. And now we can start the session on Azure Logic Apps. So over to you, Vishwa.
Sure, thank you so much. Thank you so much, Nilesh. It's all about that. How can we deliver something using a low code and a no code platform, right? Over a course of time, we realized one thing that, hey, you know, there is always that one solution that is always stagnant, right? We need to connect this, we need to connect that, and everything was sorted. And right now, Logic Apps was that. And I think I have shared my slides. You guys can share my screen right now so that I can move ahead with the explanation. It's just a little bit of PPT so that you guys will understand what's the potential of this entire technology that we are talking today. And we know that Azure Logic Apps is that one magical and a mystical product from Azure, and it has everything to be done through a non-coder also. So just enjoy this entire thing. It's an amazing one. And about me, I'm a podcaster. I love talking to techies. I'm a bibliophile, passionate about image data set. Computer vision is the field that I've always wanted to work on. Yes, I'm working in that field itself. And now exploring Azure Cloud. And fundamentally, there was a huge demand for this architecting a solution, optimizing the cost. And there was always that one situation where you just need to do that great job, or else you need to learn to work harder. There were two dilemmas that really shook the entire industry to an extent where can we move ahead with an other information that we are getting. And over a course of time, scientists came out with different approaches, academicians came out with different approaches, professions came out with different approaches, and that is where they're architecting a solution and they're optimizing the cost. So everything was considered over a course of time. And work harder than everyone else, I would say work smarter than everybody else, because it's going to be much more challenging over a course of time. You need to architect and pioneer ways in which you can really realize, okay, this is what my technology that I should have been working towards. And also, of course, so fundamental hypothesis still remains the same. It's like this: machines don't need to do things the way natural world does in order to be useful or to surpass nature. This is an actual snippet from a book from Gary Kasparov. He wrote a book on Deep Blue, which is one of the intelligent system that was invented by IBM. IBM really worked on an algorithm called as alpha beta pruning algorithm, and they really rocked the market on that given point of time. And over a course of time, there are machines which have different definitions. There are ways in which you can go ahead where you can start building a new technology and everything. So this is where it is. So machines need not have to behave the same way. So you can architect using different ways, you can architect using different services as well, but end result has to be like optimize cost and architecting the best solution which is more secure, reliable, and sturdy enough to take in the load at any given point of time. So still there is a need for the further optimization, but the time of delivery matters a lot too, right? This was one of the tweets from Jeffrey Hinton, one of the greatest deep learning deep learning professionals that you can ever see in the world of AI or deep learning. Like, it's one of the best guys that you can reach out to. Like, he is also considered as the pioneer for the neural network and other architecture that you're thinking. I thought I had a very good idea about the perceptual learning and accepted several invitations to give talks about it next week, but I've discovered the fatal flaw in the idea, so I'm canceling all these talks and I apologize. And this was said by the guy who pioneered the ways in which we are architecting a neural network, right? So it happens. So it's all about that. Like, how do you get to know the flaw at a very early stage, and how do you stop it, and how do you architect it to the next further thing? So over a course of time, this is what Alan Turing said, and Turing is one of the most fascinating scientists that everybody could ever witness in the world today, because Turing's test is still used today. It's used for testing all these chatbots and the computer vision system, the one which they are interacting. So, it's all about like we should never expect the machine to take control over it. Like, it's all about that. There has to be a little bit of a human touch there. And that's where the little bit of the work about pick and place comes into the picture. And of course, it's one of my favorite professors from SFU, the place where I always wanted to work. And yeah, he's one of the greatest profs here. So you don't have a lot of pixels, but you have a lot of temporal data. It's like you have data coming in from sensors. That's something called a sensor fusion. There is an abundant amount of data which comes out with different technologies. So you can think of IoT Central, which is just a simulation of all these devices that you are getting in. You can also think of the other services which are always connected, like Event Hub, IoT Hub, which are all Kafka related. There is always a stream of data that is just coming in and moving inside the entire infrastructure. So it's all about that, right? It's like we are just increasing the complexity as soon as we just have the touch of that infrastructure, right? So software as a service, yes, it's just configurations, click, 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 tap, 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 you're done. PaaS, of course, you need to know which is that software that you're going to use, what is the platform that I'm going to work towards, how is this platform going to help me, and the pricing has to be taken care. SaaS may you are supposed to take the pricing as well. PaaS may also you are supposed to take the pricing as well. But comparatively, SaaS is particularly a cheaper product than a SaaS. When you take the complexity of dealing with the SaaS product, PaaS is actually amazing in terms of the cost, in terms of the flexibility as well. But it all changes as soon as it comes to infrastructure as a service. Okay, you are now being hit by an infrastructure. You are now supposed to take the network. You're now supposed to take the consideration of what should be considered when I'm taking all these kind of infrastructure in mind. Like, should I change the CPU? Should I change the DPUs and all these things, right? It's too complex. So memes as a service, that's what I use for completing most of my talks, because most of my talks is all about like, can I make it much more interactive? Yes, memes as a service is the best way to go ahead. So serverless means that it's not an server which is not working behind. It's still going to be the server, but you're not going through the complexity and the hassles of thinking of what should be the network, what should be the software that it should be working on, what should be the hardware it should be working on, and things like that. So there is a lot of things that goes behind it. And particularly when you think of all these applications that are coming right now, it's always that, what if I told you there is server and servers? Yes, there is servers and servers, but when you think of the different complexity that you have to deal with when it's serverless, it's probably the order of computation, the effectivity of the code, the runtime of the code. Because let's say you have written a very very bad code and there is nothing that you can do. Serverless is going to be much more costlier than your containers as a service. So keep that in mind. Serverless is not the best option so every given point of time. So managing servers, we are too lazy for it. Nah, serverless, yes. So servers can't crash if there are no servers. Probably yes, to some extent, because you will be accessing an entire infrastructure which can be scaled and scaled out. So scaling in and scaling out, it's the best part about the serverless. It's like you don't have an hassle of anything that you need to consider. You just need to think about the frameworks that you're writing. You're just supposed to think about the code which you are writing right now, and everything is sorted. Don't need a server if you don't have any code. Yes, it's always that. Like, we all think like that, right? There is a connected computer. What will be the next big move that I can do? And of course, what if there is no code at any given point of time? Serverless means no servers. You It just means that you don't have to manage it. And brace yourself, serverless is coming in different form factors, because we all know that this is a new buzzword, but there is always a new understanding that is required for us, right? So of course, before we hop in, there is an API, operations per second, Tera operations per second, server-side scripting. There is an API, how an API works, how a function of an entire system that is going to be implemented going to work, and everything is going to be there. So right now, when you pioneer ways, Serverless is always about how are you going to scale, how is the code latency being considered, how is a developer going to be charged over a course of time, how is he going to specifically utilize that entire freedom that he has got right now. It is feasible to deploy and upgrade a software quickly, and there is no need for server administration, network operations, NOPS, IOPS, infrastructure operations, software operations. Everything is being taken care by the cloud guys, and you just need to write the code, and that's what it is. So, cons of serverless, yes, testing and debugging becomes more difficult because, of course, when it's just a code which is just running, and let's say you have not updated the requirements or txt dat files or anything, probably that's going to cause a huge error over the course of time. Serverless computing raises a new worries about the security. Yes, they raise a new error about the security, and serverless architectures are not intended to support long running operations. Like, it's like if you have a very long running operations, like for a day it has to run, for 2 days it has to run, it's going to cost you way more bigger than what you could have done with an container application. So this is where serverless doesn't come into the picture. Performance may suffer as a result, because if you don't have a coder who is just writing an amazing code, probably this is going to be the worst thing that you can be witnessing. Possibility of vendor lock-in exists. Like, vendor might also just have an instance where he did not have to give it to you, but he can deliver on that code, and probably there is going to be a crashing application that can be coming. Like, he can have an entire cloud infrastructure which is going to be there, but let me just say you one thing. What if the hardware is not that capable, and it's going to be very, very challenging. So it's all about that. It's all about being stateless and event driven. So statelets are like, okay, there is an event which is happening, okay, fine, let's just move ahead with it. But it's always about architecting something which is event driven. There is a trigger which happens, like how can we actually handle it over a course of time, and this is where the application comes into the picture. So, and it's always thinking in terms of the novel, which is like a cheap. So how can you make it much more feasible in terms of the cost? So this is where it is. So making it novel makes it much more efficient in terms of the architecture perspective, as well as in terms of the developer's perspective, because they need not have to go through the hassles of configuring YAML files, JSON files, or the text files, which is there for configuring. So it's all about that. And so I'm actually taking care of two meets, so that's why it's always that. So Logic Apps are basically integrated PaaS application, which is highly scalable, per action billing, reusability features, easy to design tools. Because integration PaaS is basically one of an application which is much more efficient than a serverless, because over a course of time you will realize that serverless is going to cost me more if my application is going to run for a very long time. It's better that I just pay it off at that given point of time, and I just forget that, okay, I need to pay it again after the execution. It's costly to some extent, so keep that in mind. And of course, there are different workflows that you can consider. There are different ways in which you can start connecting with the workflows. Workflows is basically a sequence of activity that coordinates and repeatable, which is coordinated and repeatable, and is made possible by a methodological arrangement of the resources into the process that converts materials, delivery services, or the process data as a workflow, which is just going to do all these sort of different computation, which is just going to handle all different sort of keys and terms seamlessly. So some more things to learn. There are connectors. The connectors are always the entities which are just going to make that logic work for you, right? When you are just going to connect different applications, this is going to work the best way, and connectors are the best that you can really think about. So triggers are always there. Triggers are always that entity which just creates that event. Like, it can be like a blob storage trigger, scheduling trigger, or else a queue storage trigger, a lot of things. So you guys can just go ahead and just start running with all these applications, and you will be sorted. Of course, there are different actions that are taken care from the perspective of the Logic Apps, because this is an integrated PaaS application. So you will be having some defined actions, which is 95% available for you. Sometimes you have to go out and write in a function app, and you have to just get all these triggers and everything sorted. Of course, there are different ways then you can start working. There is a controllably actions that you will always be trying towards, and control valve will always be there. There is a control flow in any of the pipelines that you're witnessing, like hardware pipelines, not the software wala pipelines. And in a similar way, this also works the same way. There are conditions, and there are which you are all working towards all these solutions. And there you have it. The control flow will always be considered here, and you can really have that logic built in for your entire system. So it's just still the same old thing. It's just an if else statement, and you're just moving ahead with all these control flows. And let's connect some components and let's see what is just that's something that we were supposed to be working towards. Right. I think there is an amazing application called as an Hopscotch, and Hopscotch is an amazing application. So you guys can go check it out, and that's going to be much more easier and much more efficient in terms of the use. So you guys can check that out as well. So simple as that. Let's just go and just check it. And also, is there any questions that you guys wanted to ask? So if anybody wanted to ask any questions, feel free to comment it down in the comment section down here in the live chat. We'll go ahead with it. So let's just go and create some function apps. First, then we'll go with the logic app. So it's very easy to create a function app here. So just click on it, create the new ones, new group. And this is sorted for me. And let me just say Vishwas Narayan 2345. That's my email that you can consider, and everything will be there for you folks. So you guys can check that out as well. So that's my email. Just add at gmail.com. That's my email. So you guys can just check on that. So 2345 is what I want. I want a Docker container. Nah, I just want the code to be there. And I'm saying runtime stack is Python. I'm choosing the version of it. I'm seeing the regions. Review and create. This is what you do, right? In Logic Apps, you will not be doing all of this. So I think, Varun, I just want to go full screen. So can you just do a full screen? Because I want to go full screen for you. So all screen share. So is my screen being shared right now? So if you can share my screen, that's going to be awesome. So share my screen. So it's going to be good. So share my screen. Perfect. So let's just go here, and you just saw that I just have an operating system, which is Linux. And of course, the name of the web app is also being considered, and the consumption model is what we have right now. And the SKUs has been dynamic. SKU is something like you're just setting up the pricing models, and you have the region which has been sorted. So you can see all the information that has been seamlessly sorted for me, even though I had some minor changes that I did, but major changes were already taken. So I can create it. You guys can see that. So yes, so submitting deployments, let it happen. So meanwhile, private chat. Also tell me when to end the broadcast. Yes, of course, I'll tell you when to end the broadcast. This is my application. So yes. Of course, it will take some time. So by that time, I can just go ahead and create a new logic app. So don't worry about that. So let's say new group. I want to do a consumption model. I don't want a standard one. So Vishwas, enable log analytics. I don't want to enable the log analytics there. It's going to be waste of time for me. Like it's going to be too much of an data which is going to be there. But like you can do that log analytics, but I would say for a basic one, don't do log analytics. We'll be taking some more advanced ones as well, so you guys can go check that out. Of course, there are different data platforms and everything. We'll go through it. There is a lot of things that we need to do, man. The crazy amount of things which are coming up here, which is so frustrating sometimes. I think this resources will be created. Function app done. Where is the logic app? Okay, so we can go out and check out this functions, which is there here in the functions tab, and let's just click on it. Create a new function. Let's say VS Code or something, any editor or else anything. So okay, that's not a problem. So let's just go and create one. Where is the create option? Very different for me here. So it's always that. Okay, I can go to the deployment center and I can see which is the code which you are taking in. That's also there, but app files, it's need not have to start like this, right? Editing functions on the Azure function is not supported for doesn't consume functions. That's okay. All right. So anybody can do this. So it's not taken care here, but back then we used to do that. But don't worry about that. You just can click on this entire link. You will be redirected to something called as your function app is working absolutely fine. That's cool. And you can go through the documentation and you can work on any of it. So let's say a logic app. Did I create a logic app? No. So let's do one thing. So let's create a consumption model. Let's say Vishwas Narayan, North Central US. I'm going to enable, no, I'm not going to enable that log analytics. So let this be created in a similar fashion. How you created the function apps, you just don't have to do much of an logic here. It's just like you are just going ahead and building all these functionalities here. So submitting the deployment, yep, deployment in progress, and everything will be taken care of here. So yes. All right. Deployment successful. Edit, open designer, and I'm opening the designer here and see the magic of it. So you need not have to do much here. So if you can go to the overview, this will be the overview section, and there will be a designer which will be automatically open for you. So simple as that. What you can do is you can go through this request. When an HTTP request is received, it's very simple. I didn't do much here. I just went to the designer and I clicked on this. I clicked on this and everything was sorted here. So I just took that when the HTTPS has been received. So it's very easy to generate an URL. You just have to save it. Then there is an URL which will be generated for you. So you guys can go check that out. But I would say I want a method to be added, right? I want a method to be added, and I'm saying it as get. Of course, you know that, right? It's get, patch, post, put, delete, and there are custom values that you can also enter. But I would say this would be the best way to do it. And of course, when you have a body of JSON, you will get to know how it is all about. Like, JSON is all like a JavaScript object notation that you'll be taking care, and everything will be taken care end to end here. And I got a get method. Now my next step is always to get a response out of it, right? The response is the best thing that can ever happen. It's like an distribution that you just did over a course of time. Like anybody who hits on that link will have that response immediately. So let me just say a response. So I do this and I don't have to do much. So the status code, if it's 200, perfect. Everybody will take care of it. Header, body, let me just say hi, Vishwas or something. And I do the save and I run this trigger and I run it. Let's see the magic of it. The performance is going to start and you can see successfully check the trigger. Yes, it has checked the trigger, and look at the fact that I need not have to write any code here. So you guys can see the JSON code, everything will be taken care by this. It's just like an ARM template that you're writing right now. So you can look at that and let's see what happens when I hit on this. Send, and it said me, hi Vishwas, and this really started working. You need not have to do much of a work here. You just can go think of this and this will be obviously be available to you. And now we know that, this is how you can send a response trigger and all these kind of a thing. But let's make it a little bit of customized one, right? Let's say we know that there is an set of an input, set of an output that comes in. I want to add a relative path and I just add it and I say name. And the behavior of this entire thing changes right now. So I am just saving it right now and I'm also running this. The performance is starting. Let's see whether the logic apps has been saved, successfully run, whatever it is. Like whatever the changes that you do, it's going to be saved here. I'm going to add a relative path here. I want to say name and I'm going to save it and look at the magic. And I'm going to still do the get method only and I'm going to put the name here and I'm going to say Vishwas and look at it. It just gave me this hi Vishwas again, but let's see what's the trigger that I made anything wrong. Anything has to be taken care. Okay, so let's see what was that body. So the name path has been added. This is the new thing and I go here, grab the same URL, I just run the trigger. Let's see what is just going to happen. So let me just say there is none which has been added. So I'll just refresh this browser and this will be here for me. I just send that and name was not being added. Oh, it's already been added. So I Vishwas and name. Oh, name variable has already been added here. So that's all right. That's absolutely fine. We can look at all the runs which just happened. So let's add a relative path here. So it's a get method, right? So I just say name here and it should come for me. And hello name has to be there. Let's see what is the challenge here. All right, I'm saving it. I'm running the triggers. Run with payloads. Nah. When the request is received, get name. I can do this as well. So run it. Fail to run. Why? Content type, application, name, Vishwas. Name is name. Oh, sorry for that. I'm just naming the queries. Naming it as Vishwas. And let's see what's going to be the run. But here it has to run. Let's see. All right. It didn't come up with that name, man. What really happened? So let's see our old ways. So name equal to Vishwas. Oh, yes. So this just came out to be something which is not that cool. All right. So this came up with the name. What should be the name here? Name has to be Vishwas, and let's see whether this takes dismiss. Of course, this is going to take a lot of time, but let's see. This has to be working. I don't know why. Let's see what should be the configuration that I should be doing right now. So, was it body? What is the name? Queries, and name was the parameter that I wanted to add, and this was wrong. Let's see what's the status of that code. If you just copy that, paste it down here, you can see that there is a high input trigger, relative path, and everything, right? That's the completion of the code that you were supposed to do, but automatically it was done by this entire thing. And lately, let's clear off some things. So queries was being added, relative path has been added. Let's see. Name, this is the path parameter. Add a new parameter, response. All right, so run the triggers. Code views still going to be remaining the same. Why didn't it work? Designer. So name get prod name. Perfect. To start working. Let's see. If it still comes the name, I think probably there is some error that might be happening. Let's see, what was this? All right, so lot of things has been changed here. Let's see what just happened. Name didn't come up, so it's Vishwas, and there is no name, which is just hopping in. Why? Name Vishwas is here. Didn't pop up. Why didn't it pop up so bad? Okay, like this is how you just do it, but I don't know what's wrong with this. Name that parameter, name value, everything. So save it. Saving the logic file, it just got undone. So some of it failed, so some of it succeeded. So you can refresh that and see how the logic app ran and everything. And you can see that, right? There was a trigger which was done. The output was always this name and name. Oh, name doesn't have this value, man. So that's the problem. Let's say I want to put something as wish was. Got it. Let me just go to the triggers. A new relative path. Let's see whether this thing will start working. And let's see, the name was taken. Hi, wish was. Save it. Let's run this. Error. There was a triggering error. I don't want any of the body to come in and anything. So let's just run the triggers. Probably that body which I put is going to give me a lot of errors. Successfully check the trigger. Let's see. What's the magic of this? There are no relative path which was being added. There was an action response skipped. Why? Let's not do that way. Let's just do it this way and see whether this trigger will happen. So hi wish was just started working. So in a similar way, you can start working towards like what is the requirement of the hour, and you can start moving towards like, okay, I need to start working about this, and what is the next big move that I'm just going to do, and everything will be taken care. Of course, you can go ahead, remove all these, delete all these functions. You can use the same old methods to just start working towards all these applications. So let's say I want to do something on YouTube. So YouTube is here for me. So when a new video matches a search, or else when I upload a video, right? So I'll just sign in and I'll say this is going for an authorization, and there is Outlook also. Everything has been taken care here. So we'll go ahead. We can run that entire triggers and everything. So it's now taking in. So I think I'm just going to use mine. Wait, let me just go to my Gmail. This will be the Gmail for it. And I hope you guys can see my password. So this will be the new email that I just wanted. So of course there's walking voyager, self-driving car, but I want this to be there. Allow it. And hopefully this will get connected. And very easy. You need not have to do much. You just have to go to this Gmail. Look at this. All these steps are always here. Okay, I just have some triggers which were not built. I hope this thing is not making a mess. I hope it's connected. Sign in to create the new step. All right, it's still signing up. So switch account. This is going to be there for me. God, man, this is going to be very challenging. Let's see. Let's just do this again. All right, when I upload, no additional informations were being taken care. Peek code. So, of course, you can peek the code and say it has done. And let me just say there's an Outlook functionality that you just take care about, and you can just go ahead and look at what are all the different codes and everything that was considered. So, Outlook.com action. Create contact, create email, delete contact, delete email, flag email, get contact, send an email. It's what I wanted. And I'll go ahead and I'll authorize my Outlook account. And there are different parameters that you can look at, right? There are different parameters that you can look at. And there you have it. You just seamlessly connected this entire application. Didn't do much of a work. I just have it. So let me just say to VN33 something. This is the guy. You can add a lot of dynamic content that's also there. So video list, web link, and something like new video uploaded. And you can think of adding a dynamic content here as well. So expressions, anything can be added. Adding a new parameters, reply to, or else anything can also be done and triggered here. So if I save this, and if I try uploading a new video here, let's say I want to upload a new video here. Let's just do that. Create an account, create a channel. All right, change connections. All right, I can add a new one. That's not a problem. it will be taking in. So you can add different amount of connections here, so you need not have to worry here like what will be the name or the functionality that you will be looking forward to. And I can allow it to just add a new parameter here. I think I can click on any one of it and I can go through that. I can switch account, I can apply for this. It is signing in. All right, so just leave that, let it be there. Time zones, I'm not considering it. Let me just download a short video or something. YouTube. Basics of cloud computing. 3 minutes video or else 30 seconds. Baby. Okay, this I can go to Y2Mate. I can download that video. I can do this. Don't worry. 240, right? There'll be a new upload which will be taken care. Of course, the new video was being uploaded. Keep follow if you're not a robot. Whoa! Can upload a new video. This will be processed. No, this is not made for kids. Things like that. And you can add different triggers as well. So if it's a public video that you're just triggering right now, and of course there will be a new trigger that will be uploaded. Run the triggers, run it. So I just uploaded, processing just started. Let's see whether there is a new email that I just got right now. All right. That was me only, so that's not a problem. So it just saw that, okay, there are different triggers that I just started applying, and this started working all of this. And the video was uploaded to few minutes for me. Or sometimes the problem with this is also like it just goes to the spam directly. So we need to be sure about that as well. So, okay. No, thanks. Let's say I just created one more video. I just upload it. I say that, hey, run the triggers. Way to meet. No. Let's see. This will be taking place and this is being uploaded right now. Let's run this. See whether the trigger has been happening. All right. So there is a new notification saying that there is a new upload which just happened, which is just 11:44, and it just got popped up in my email saying that this is the link that I wanted, and this just came in. So this is how you can just enter in all these infrastructure, just get to know how are these triggers working and the things like that. And also there are different ways that you can also connect uh, different functionalities of different services which are available from different places as well. So let's just check on that service as well. So Dropbox and OneDrive is always considered. So Drive, if you say Google Drive is also there, but OneDrive is an good option. So you guys can check that. So simple thing, if you have a Logic app, we have a Dropbox account, everything which we need. So let's just do one thing. So discard, yes, discard changes. So I'm just going to delete this. I'm just going to delete this. And the fact that it came from some Outlook account to my Gmail, that's also very good. So it's Dropbox. I don't know why that trigger didn't work, but like that response should have had worked, by the way. I don't know why that didn't work. So let's just do a Dropbox. So there are different triggers when a file is created, properties only, when a file is modified or anything. So I want to say when a file is created, I want to sign in with a Dropbox account. So it's redirecting me to that. I don't know why today the network is a little slow from my side also. Wow. Yeah, let's see. Okay, so let's just log in with the sign in with the Dropbox itself. So allow it, decline. All right, sign up. नहीं 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 ऐसा नहीं स्टैंडर्ड प्रोफेशनल ये सब क्या है वो God man, sign in I'll do. Sign in with Google. Allow. Yes, I agree. Create an account. Dude, I don't have it. I need to give all this. God, man. PayPal. No, 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 no. Okay, so Dropbox has really changed my plan also. So leave that. We can go ahead with another YouTube demo or else the other demos as well. So let me just do one thing. Let me just go through an demo which does a lot of logicals and reasoning and the control actions and everything. So it's a very simple thing. Just do OneDrive only. OneDrive I can do. Let's say OneDrive. OneDrive I do. When the file is created, I can do that. Sign in. So OneDrive will always be there with my Outlook, so I can go ahead and check that out as well. So that's not a problem. So I can put something when the file was created. I can say, okay, this file was being created, everything was taken care, blah blah blah, and I can put a new action item that I can put in. Outlook. I don't know why Outlook is so fascinating, but yeah, sign in. Please check the account. Why didn't it pop up all of the sudden? It need not have to be that way. Like, all right, where is this entire thing? Let's create a OneDrive account and I'll show you that remote. No, not a worry. Nothing to worry. Window Gopala 1234 at outlook.com. So yeah, I think OneDrive is created. I think now it should be good to go. with the OneDrive, that's not a problem. All right, where is it? OneDrive is here. So this should sign in now. Please sign in. Yep, this is going good. Of course, there are different folders that I can look at. Of course, there is root, and there are different folders that I can consider. So let me just say documents may included subfolder. Yes. Let's say new parameter time zone every 3 minutes. Now, every 1 minute I'll start checking. Okay, every 3 minutes I'll start checking. Let's say Outlook, right? Triggers. Let's say Gmail itself. Gmail can also be triggered using this. So Gmail connectors are there. So when a new mail arrives, Gmail send a new mail. When a new mail arrives or anything, okay, that's also there. When there is, oh, this can't be done. So I think Outlook would be the best option. So let's say Outlook. Where are you? Outlook.com. So create contacts, send a mail. I want to send a mail, send an email. Body, hey, new content added. Subject, which was added new content. And you can also add a different ways of which you can get all these triggers as well. So you guys can go do that as well. I don't think so. There are any other things that I want to add. So let's say I want to go for the documents and I want to upload a new document, right? And let's just go ahead and upload a new document from here. Like let's say I want to upload a new document from here. Let's say a file has been added. And this will be trigger. Run the triggers. Every 3 minutes there is a checking that will be happening, right? And now see that added a new content. Hi, new content added, which was added as a new content, and I just triggered it, and seamlessly this started working. And if I trigger some more, and if I upload a new content here, let's say I want to add this file, and every 3 minutes there is a trigger which is coming up, right? So uploading one item. So as soon as the upload happens and the check happens there, or else I can run the trigger as well. That also works the fine. So there'll be a new upload that will be taken care. So I uploaded a new video, and that video was also given an alert here. Sometimes this goes to your this one as well. So let me just say I trigger it once again. And now if it finds a new content which is just been added right now, it will just give me a new trigger saying that, hey, there was a new content added by Wish was here. I think less than a minute ago. Let's see what was the status of all these things. All right, I don't want you to go anything down here. So let's see. Okay, added a new content. That trigger was also added. So it's a 0 minutes ago. It found out that there was a new content added, and there it is, folks. You just had the successful triggering and every options which has been taken care. So right now, I think this is the basics of it. There are even advanced topics that I would love to cover and everything. Man, this is so good. And you guys can reach out to me at any given point on my LinkedIn. So this is my LinkedIn. So not my network, by the way. Oh God, why did I open that? Not a message. Sorry for that. So you guys can reach out to me on LinkedIn. So when you reach out to me on LinkedIn, so we'll start with a new thing. And that's it from my side, folks. If you have any questions, queries, comments, do reach out to me, and we'll go ahead with anything that we want. And of course, advanced session के लिए थोड़ा basics तो करना पड़ेगा, and we just did that. Advanced sessions will always be taken care later as well. So go ahead with it, and thank you so much, folks.
Yeah, thank you so much, Vishwas, for the lovely session. Even I learned today a lot more about Azure function, how
Functions.
the app works. Yeah. will be reaching out to you if I have any doubts after trying it out. So I'll, ask all the participants also to, check out it, try something with it, and then if you have any doubts, you can reach out to me or Vishwas. So if you reach out to me, I can direct you to the Vishwas to solve
Sure.
your
Thank you.
doubts. Yeah. Thank you so much again for joining in today, everybody.
And see you, folks. Just start learning something new. Everything will be there in your hands. And thank you so much. Yep.